Hey, what's up, you guys? It's me, ODR, aka the Review, and yeah, I guess we got a TV spot, and I'm assuming the final trailer for Scream 7. February's come, and funny enough, I thought, okay, this movie's going to be skipping the Super Bowl, and once they announce that this is one of the promos they're doing, I'm assuming they have enough money to actually promote this for once. Weirdly enough, I don't even know if it's just one of those movies that doesn't get promoted as much because it's a horror film, but it's kind of weird that this is the one Scream movie as of recent that isn't getting too much of a big buzz because it's kind of weird that throughout the periods of from the when the trailer came out to versus now, there hasn't been a lot of promotion for this movie just yet, and now suddenly the promotion had just started. A part of me wants to say it's all the behind the scenes drama and the fact that Spyglass Studios, in fact, I might as well just call them out on this. If in a separate timeline they didn't make the decisions they make, fans and people wouldn't retaliate in the defense where it's like, oh, we gotta hate Scream 7, boycott Scream 7, because I've been seeing a lot of that stuff online. From where I stand on it, you'll see when I get to the reviews, because once I talk about Scream and all the stuff that's been going on, you gotta remember, this story isn't really technically the Carpenter's story. It was gonna be the story, but it could have gotten a second sequel, and I guess it could have been their big finale trilogy. Scream wouldn't be Scream without Sidney Prescott, and now that we have her returning in this one, hopefully we actually have a good, decent Scream movie because you can say, yeah, there's a lot of factors in this that's missing. You have a main story, then you separate it from the main story, and I guess you could assume this is a second side story, which I can assume that I don't even know if it's just me, but I feel like this movie more recently is I feel like it doesn't have the factor that other Scream movies have that it's not really about horror films. You could argue that every Scream movie has a theme, but I feel like the theme for this one isn't really just a theme, but it's more like almost revenge. And you could say it could be any other slasher. They just put the Scream name on it. All that is a discussion for another time, but mostly what I feel like, yeah, we have a new Scream movie coming out. I'm still excited for it, but now that it has a Super Bowl TV spot, and I'm assuming is the final trailer for this thing since it's like a few weeks out, hopefully they could actually show us a couple decent things and not try to spoil some big surprises. So, in that case, let's get to the trailer. Sorry, Jeff. Yep, that's a confirmed death.
This killer has been planning his attack for years. Your daughter, Tatum, is the same age that you were when this whole thing started. This isn't gonna stop unless I stop it. Where is my daughter?
This is gonna be fun.
Scream, only in theaters. Tickets on sale February 9th.
Just in that little bit of footage, I guess I could gather some things about this film and also some of the big, I wouldn't say big, but it seems like spoilers on the deaths. Like you already see somebody hanging in whatever seems like a theater or a school. Wouldn't even say it's a high school, but it looks like more of a theater. Sydney's husband, Mark, actually didn't make it through this. And funny enough, it would be a shame if that was Mark Kincaid, but it's really not. This Mark's last name is Evans. And yeah, that kind of doesn't ring a bell with Sydney. Sydney Evans, that doesn't make any sense. Now, Sydney Kincaid, that would have been a better movie in another timeline. But the one thing I actually did kind of figure out or notice is that they're going through a psychiatric hospital, which who knows if that could be where Stu is actually alive? Because you could already imagine that, oh, in the last movie you saw when they were finding out the Ghostface mask, that Stu's body was dead and they actually have him dated at 1996 date of death. And it's kind of weird that it feels like, oh, it's been a long time coming. And seeing as that they actually have drawings on the wall of everything that's been happening in Woodsboro, but I guess you could say, who knows if it's another thing because it would be Stu as an easy out, but I guess they wouldn't actually spoil that or at least not have it shown unless it's in the movie. And there's some little throwbacks to the original Scream I kind of didn't notice in the trailer, like they already have like closed for curfew after midnight because I feel like, oh yeah, there was a curfew in the first movie and they're bringing it back for this. And some other things I'm like, yeah, this is basically almost like what they tried to do in Halloween H2U, where it's like, oh, Gail's talking to Sydney in what looks like her interview show, where she was like, oh, you're the same age as your daughter when all this started. So it's like, it kind of reminds me of almost like what Michael Myers did in HBO. The thing was that it was 20 years later. and the fact that it was like, oh, Michael Myers is coming after my son the exact same age after this whole started, so he's basically coming for me, which I wouldn't say is exactly like Halloween 20 H2O. It's giving more Halloween ends in the fact that it's like, oh, we skipped the main Ghostface story and now we're going into another story with Sydney. Like, I feel like if there was another movie in between this that gave the Carpenter sisters like a whole resolution, I'm like, okay, that's cool, and we ended that little story off there. But also coming back to Sydney, I wouldn't even say a couple years later because it's still the timeline doesn't add up. Like at Scream 5, you see her with a carriage running, and that tells me, oh, she recently just had kids and she has a 18-year-old daughter, which I wouldn't even say is exactly how things would go down because I'm like, wait a minute. Scream 5 didn't just happen like a few years ago. This happened like five, I wouldn't say five. Yeah, we are 4 years ago if we're really being exact. The last thing I want to talk about is the poster for this, which I'm not going to lie, it's a cool throwback to the original that had, I wouldn't say it is Nev Campbell in that picture because it was actually true story behind this whole thing. Drew Barrymore was cast as Sidney Prescott originally, but the fact that I don't want to play this and I want to play the girl that gets killed in the first 10 minutes, that it was kind of funny because seeing as though if she was Sidney, that would have been the poster for all the movies to come. But seeing as though, oh wait a minute, you're plastered all over the poster, so people are going to assume you're the main character of this. And when they killed her off, it was like a decent surprise for the audience. Seeing it come full circle with Sidney now the poster of this whole thing in that same throwback, that tells me, yeah, that's a kind of a good respect to the franchise, and seeing as though there's a little tiny piece in the corner that says 30th anniversary, which is technically the 30th anniversary of Scream. Is there any more I want to talk about this whole thing? No, but I feel like that's a whole discussion for another time. And the fact that I feel like, yeah, now with 7 on the way, I might as well just talk about all the movies to come where I could do, oh, I'm going to go probably see it on the 26th. So every day counting down to the days of Scream 7, I could review like Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of those back to back counting down on the days of Scream 7. And hopefully the movie's good because if it's not, I feel like, yeah, this is basically our Halloween's ends moment, but mostly I'm not seeing like a theme. Mostly everything I'm seeing is revenge because the movie aspect is what makes Scream, but it's not like the case of, oh, I'm just killing Sydney just to kill Sydney and get revenge. Every killer had a movie that was connected to movies or something related to the past. Who knows if it's something mysterious with this Ghostface killer? Because if they were to do that with the last movie, that would have made a lot more sense since it was gonna riff off of actual murders instead of was a requel sequel, which yeah, it kind of did copy some Scream 2 elements. All there is to say is I hope the movie's good, and it's cool that now we have an actual jumpstart for this movie because I feel like there wasn't any marketing everywhere. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. All my social media is down in the description below. Well, in that case, I'll see you guys later because I'm about to go make a killing.